It's important to understand that in order to make this video, I had to tear myself away from XCOM 2, which was very difficult to do. However, I needed a bit of a break from the stress that comes from trying to save the world with a small squad of soldiers against an alien threat that gets harder to beat with every new mission. XCOM 2 takes the stress of tactical strategy and turns it up to 11. It is not because the game's unfair, it is more due to it being such a high caliber of strategy that many will cripple under the pressure, and a wrong move could lead to a failed mission and possibly a game over. Timed missions, time-based management, and difficult enemy tactics make the sequel to 2012's Enemy Unknown a tough game to get through, but when you do, you'll feel like a strategic mastermind. So let's get started.
Miss the target. That armor's tough. Not good. Adjusting sights.
XCOM 2 is a triumph graphically compared to its predecessor. The soldiers, environments, and enemies are all crafted with incredible detail. The grass is lush, shadows are sharp, and the destructible environments make the maps feel alive. However, you will need to first conquer the graphics menu to get the game running smoothly. Despite being graphically advanced, the game is poorly optimized. It was difficult to get the game running at a smooth frame rate, and during key cutscenes the frame rate would tank completely. Couple this with a few frequent crashes and XCOM 2 is not the most stable game on launch. Despite some bugs, the overall presentation, though, is fantastic. The action camera catches all of the soldier animations as they run from cover to cover and engage with the enemy. This was especially impressive when all the shots would line up and the camera would track from soldier to soldier, giving the game an almost cinematic feel during combat. If you can get over some graphical performance bugs and soldiers clipping through walls at times, then the presentation of XCOM 2 is great, and with some patches, I'm sure Firaxis will have the issues ironed out.
The Ranger serves as our primary reconnaissance unit, capable of moving independently in concealment while engaging enemies at close range.
The customization this time around is much deeper and easier to manage. Soldiers have many different looks from hair, face, armor, and props. I found myself spending a lot of time making soldiers and fiddling around with all the looks. Weapons can be modified to increase aim, damage, reload speed, and you can even color them and name them as well. Soldiers have personalities now, can become shaken, have their willpower tested, and recover. It was fun to watch my soldiers develop and create personal war stories for them based on mission events. The soldier progression is similar to Enemy Unknown, but still allows for unique choices in each class tree. The downside to all this customization is I found myself getting attached to soldiers, and it was hard to see them get gunned down during a mission. But at least I got to write a nice epitaph for them in the end.
Taken care of.
Gameplay is very similar to Enemy Unknown with the same turn-based combat and decision-making. However, the pace of XCOM 2 is much quicker. It seems that no matter what part of the game you're in, there is some sort of timer ticking down that makes speed a priority. I have noticed that this can detract from the trap setting and Overwatch and chill methods from the first game. At the start of the game, the pacing is a bit of a shock to the system as I got used to having to move my squad quickly through a battlefield. Despite the clock though, there is plenty of room for tactical decision-making. There just may be more recovery time for soldiers, as many decisions will require putting them in the line of fire to get an extra step closer to an objective, rather than keeping them in cover and waiting the enemy out. Where you can be a bit more patient now is the stealth feature or concealment phase at the start of a mission. When you drop into a zone with your squad, you will now start concealed, which gives you the opportunity to set up kills on unsuspecting enemies, or sometimes sneak around all of them and complete the objective without firing a single shot. This element of stealth gives a bit more control to the player, allowing you to decide the best way to tackle a mission. Do you go in guns blazing, or sneak down a river and pick off some enemies from afar? Either way, the timer will be ticking and the enemies will be numerous.
Power relay now operational.
The theme to XCOM 2 is management, and it continues outside of the missions as well. This time around, your base is mobile. Think helicarrier from the Avengers. You will spend some time in your base just like in Enemy Unknown, deciding what to build, where to build it, and what to research to help with the war effort. However, most of your time will be spent on the new and improved hologrid, which you will play a time management game on deciding where to fly and what missions to partake in. There will always be something to do, whether it's picking up more supplies, making contact with resistance cells, or building radio relays to improve communication lines. XCOM 2 will have you second-guessing every movement in the hologrid, though, as the whole time there is a typical doomsday clock called the Avatar Project that the enemy is working on to finish, and if they do, you will only have a limited amount of time to shut it down or it's game over. While the base management is a bit stripped down this time, there's a ton of new gadgets and weapons to research. It is kind of overwhelming at first, as there are many decisions to be made, and each one will affect the rest of your missions in different ways. But after a few months of in-game time, the management will become second nature, and you will be able to plan your next moves for countering the alien threat. XCOM 2 seems to improve in almost every aspect compared to Enemy Unknown. However, there are very different games. Where Enemy Unknown had you fighting out in the open against an alert foe, the sequel is more guerrilla-style warfare where you run covert ops and quick in-and-out missions. There's not a lot of waiting around for the enemy to attack, as this game brings the fight to the aliens that are trying to assimilate all of Earth's population into their Advent program. XCOM 2 is a stressful game. Your first time through, you may need to save and reload a few times. But as the game continues, you will understand the aliens' tactics and develop some of your own. The difficulty of the game is on a very steady curve, and you will always feel like you're playing from behind. I thoroughly enjoyed my time with it and plan on doing multiple playthroughs. Firaxis has already opened up the game to modders as well, and on day one there were already many to choose from to customize your game experience. XCOM 2 is for the gamer who does not mind some stress and who can recover from a tough loss. I recommend it to anyone who wants a true challenge and prefers tactical strategy games. I hope you enjoyed my review of XCOM 2, and if you enjoy these type of games, then you should check out my video on The Darkest Dungeon. It's another turn-based strategy game that is excellent. Also, if you want to see more of my videos, then feel free to subscribe. Thanks for watching, and have a good day.